Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Wednesday, and Tom, it is Administrative Professionals Day. So to all the folks out there who have administrative professionals, whether they're virtual assistants, receptionists, secretaries, office managers, bookkeepers, all the clerical work, if you have people that do those things, this is the day to celebrate them. They do really hard work that I know when I've had people that do that for me, they make my life infinitely easier so I can do the things that I like to do, not the things I don't like to do.
So what if you are one of those people listening? What would you recommend for them? How do they celebrate on it?
Job well done.
That's it? A clap? That's all you got?
Tell you what, first 3 administrative professionals that give me their mailing address, I will send you a copy of my book free.
There you
Signed.
go.
There you go.
That is, I like
right
that.
There, right there. Waiting for you. First 3 administrative professionals. Bring it on.
I like
that. Okay.
I didn't even know that it was Administrative Professionals Day, but
I saw that on my calendar. I have a little thing that tells me what each day is, and I caused a little concern in the house because someone else thought it was next week. And there's lots of scrambling to be done.
Fair enough. Probably they're not the only one. I'm sure there are a few people who are listening to this who are like, that's not good.
Well, it's always the 4th Wednesday in April. And we have a weird month this month that the 4th Wednesday is today, I believe.
At the end of the month.
Yeah. It's all messed up.
Fascinating. I would never have known that. So thank you for sharing that.
I do what I can, Tom. I try to bring my A game. Look, yesterday was National Lookalike Day. I did something with that. Today, Administrative Professionals Day. I might have a day each day to talk about.
Is there a day each day?
Oh, there are many. Yeah.
But I mean, is there a day that has none?
Not that I've seen. I have a thing that goes to my Instagram every day. So I see what they are. And there has never been a day where there isn't one. Now, some of these are like National Strawberry Rhubarb Pie Day. It's like, oh, okay. And so all those who like strawberry rhubarb pie, I'm not defaming you in any way, shape, or form, but to have a day based on that seems aggressive.
When's National Renegade Day?
That's a good idea. We should work on that. It's this is also Earth Day, I believe.
I think tomorrow.
Tomorrow is it tomorrow? Okay, I knew it was coming up. It's around now.
Because I thought I remember when we announced our
networking event, Tim said he could. Well, folks, this is if you wonder what Tom and I do and we're late 2 or 3 minutes each morning, this is what it's like. That was a real good embodiment of what those meetings that we have impromptu are. Talk about headlines, stream of consciousness. Hey, I did this thing, or did you see that cat video?
Why don't you tell us about the things we have coming up? It's a good point to do that.
I would love to. That's Tom and Bob. And today at 1 p.m., it's the Ring of Renegades check-in, check-up. It's a chance for you to take stock of where you are with the week, what you've achieved, celebrate it. We love to celebrate successes. And to also look at what you need to do with the rest of the week and even get some helpful hints, advice, make some connections, all today at 1 p.m. And that is in the Facebook group, right, Tom?
That is correct. It is in the Facebook group. There is a room. So if you go to the Facebook group, go to rooms, there's a room for check-in and check-up. It will be launched a little before 1 p.m. Eastern, and you can then join us there.
And our networking event is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's right, on the 22nd. Please join us for networking a la Renegade style. And yes, we do networking a different way, a fun way, a way that you don't need to know your elevator pitch. You don't have to stress over what you're going to say. I promise you it will be easy and fun, and you will walk away with something that you didn't have when you walked into that room.
And there is an event page set up. So again, just go to the Facebook page and look for events, and there's events page where you can get more information about our upcoming network event. So now that we got all that stuff taken care of and everybody knows what day today is, besides the fact that it's what day of the week, also what special celebration day there is, let's get on with our conversation. So we've been talking this week about letting go. And one of our goals with this show is to share a topic of the week and have a discussion around it. And we hope that you will provide whatever comments you have as we go along. And at the end of the show, Bob and I will come up with our one thing to hopefully help you move forward, your antidote for when you're struggling with letting things go or whatever the other topic is. So please feel free at the end to share in the comments your one thing, because we do know that while what we have to share will help some, there are others who will be looking for what you have to share and the value that you provide. So please feel free to do that, be a part of our discussion. Now, let's get on to letting go. So letting go, we've been talking about it all week, a little bit about what it was. Then yesterday we followed up with that. And today we're going to talk about what happens when you don't let go of something. Do you want to share some thoughts on that, Bob?
I do. I've been debating giving this example since we started the program, but I'm going to let you all into a little inner game. And Tom and I can see while we're doing this program how many people are watching this. And it fluctuates over the course of the time of our program. And sometimes it gets pretty high, sometimes it gets pretty low. For a long time, and I didn't even tell Tom this, but I would watch. If I was talking and saying something and that number started to drop, I would find a joke or I would try to jigger things so that that number would go up again, because I felt like it was some actual feedback. Then one day I realized that I couldn't manage that. It was way too much. I had to let go of that. I had to let go of people giving real-time feedback, which is kind of funny now if you think about it, because the feedback we're getting is really 2 minutes behind, I believe.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. And so I had to let go of the number of people participating in this program each morning. I pay attention to it to know if it's really high, and I like to see the sources, but I no longer allow it to affect anything I do with this program. I just don't, because I realize by not letting it go, by obsessing over it, by stressing over it, I was hurting my ability to do what I'm meant to do. I was giving way too much brain energy to something that I had no control over. And that really, it just made the show exhausting some days. It'd be like, geez, I did all this stuff. And I would leave the program deflated, when the whole goal of this, for me, one of the goals is this energizes me. This gets me up, thinking, moving forward. So had I not let go of that, and I'm going to say it was probably August, September, when I finally let go, had I not, this would be a very stressful thing each morning to me. And now it's not. Now it's just like, we do our thing. And if you and I are the only people who pay attention, Tom, you know what? I get value out of it every morning.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge we face, right? Is that so often if we don't let go of something, and it doesn't mean you have to let go of everything. Obviously, there are things that you do hold on to, but there are others, and figuring out, what at that point where this is no longer serving me. And typically when we don't let go, it takes up space for something else that could be more beneficial, So if you're focused on that number, you're not as focused on okay, what are the thoughts that I want to share? What's the information that I want to provide? How can I better serve people? Not just worry about okay, is the number going up or down, or what does that look like? And I think that's that's a good example, because like you said, we have no control over it. People are going to choose. I mean, obviously what we say might have an impact on whether people show up or don't show up. And we don't then control what they decide to do. And so I think that's, a good example of understanding where it took you, and I guess that would be my follow-up question is how did that impact you as you moved through it? Were you just staring at the number and watching it and being like, oh God, that just went down. Oh, there it goes again. Oh,
I did exactly that. That's exactly what I did. It would go down. If you were talking, it went up. I can remember one day, it was right around August 1st. You were speaking and it went up like 50%. And you talked for a couple minutes like you do normal. And then all of a sudden I started to talk and it dropped. Like it sliced in half. And I'm like, whoa. I'm thinking, does my voice sound okay? Do I have sound here? And I got so rattled. And if you go back and look at that program, you will see that I was not myself. Because I watched it a week later. I was like, this is not how I want to be.
Yeah.
I'm chasing the wrong ball. And I think that's how it feels is, on some level, you're just not being your authentic self. My authentic self is going to be the way I am. I'm going to make the comments I made today. That's me. If you don't want to know about Administrative Professionals Day, you don't want to know those things I shared, hey, guess what? I'm cool with that. Bye.
Yeah.
I had to get to that. And I think it's the same way with our customers. Hey, this is how I roll. I invoice this way. And if that doesn't work for you and I can't make it easy for you and I can't make it easy for me, then there's someone else. If you don't like the fact that I'm not available for you Friday nights at 9 p.m., okay. And I think what happens is when we cling to especially customers, I think when we cling to them, we start to do gymnastics and it just drives us crazy. I think of it as like a game of Twister. You're doing really well, and then all of a sudden you got twisted in a weird way that causes you to fall over. I feel like I've done that with some customers over the years, and each time it's just left me frustrated, and it hasn't made them think I'm doing my best work.
Sure.
The people that I find see me at my best are the ones who take me the way I am.
Right. And appreciate that and what it is, and it's interesting because I think that, I think clients, customers is one. I think programs and processes is another. We get so comfortable with what we're doing that we just keep going and we don't think about, all right, what are we missing here? What's the piece that is not, because it's almost just too much a part of this is who we are and what we've always done. I can think of systems. The number of people who, have you ever been in an organization where they brought in a new system?
Oh, yeah.
And people are like, so we're going to try this. And everybody's like, oh, we got to go through this again. And I got to learn something new. And I was just, I loved the old system. Even though the old system didn't really serve us, this is what, we were comfortable with. And I think that comfort level, and Tim will probably put up that quote of, there's no comfort in the comfort zone or something like that he shares a few times. I think that becomes the challenge, right? Is that we're almost afraid of what is to come and the change that's going to cause. So we'd rather stick with something that's maybe ineffective, inefficient, and slowing us down than take the chance that I have to learn something and do something new and move forward and really create the space. We've talked about this before, but I'll share it, is that I had a client that I was working with, is a really big client. And part of the challenge was I had at least an hour commute both ways, and I wasn't really doing the work that I wanted to do. And, and I think it was hard. And it took me a long time to realize that there were other opportunities out there, that I wasn't just like, this wasn't the only client that I could potentially have. Yes, it was a big part of it was, probably more than 50% of my revenue. And there were opportunities to do other things because it would better serve me. But it took me a long time. And I don't think I'd have ever come to that on my own. I think through conversations with you, conversations with my coach at the time, helped me understand that there were going to be other things down the road. But of course, we can't perceive the future. We can't read the future, so we don't know that for certain, which makes it hard. As it was, a really great opportunity popped up a month later that I would never have been able to take advantage of prior to that. And, and so I think when we don't let go, we don't create the space for other things that may serve us more effectively, more efficiently, or are more beneficial to what we're trying to accomplish.
And our customers, right? We were having a discussion at 5 till 8 this morning where the idea of bots, you brought up the idea of bots in a meeting with us, that it actually fits something we want to do really well. And that's been something we've been kicking around for what, 7, 8, 9 months?
Oh, at least.
And the whole idea that we're working with is something that's different than we've ever done. But we know what we're trying to achieve. And I think when I cling to things that I should be letting go of, it's because I'm trying to live in the past, not in the future. Because we're always evolving. Every business under the sun. Look at the pandemic and how it's changed medicine. I haven't seen a doctor in over a year, yet I've been in communication with my doctors every 2 or 3 months. I've had tele appointments. I've had Facebook appointments or FaceTime appointments. And I even had an email exchange that would have been a doctor-patient meeting, but we went through email.
Right.
If I had said to my doctor 3 years ago, hey, I don't have time to come in for a silly appointment, I'm fine, I'll tell you if I'm not, he would have been like, no, you've got to come in every 6 months. Right. Now, he's the one saying, look, I don't want you in that building. There's nothing useful. So, and think of Zoom.
Sure.
I can remember a year and a half, 2 years ago, you had to explain to people how to use Zoom. I haven't explained Zoom to anyone in months. My mother even says to me, well, we could talk over Zoom tomorrow if you want. What?
Sure. Well, it's something different. And people fought it for the longest time. Right. They would never want us to do that. They would be like, why would I do that? We just meet in person. This was the way to do things. And I think it's funny, again, that so often opportunities arrive out of obstacles or crisis. We can look at it as crisis and just be overwhelmed by it. Or we can say, hey, you know what? Maybe this is just really telling us that something that we probably should have let go of a long time ago, we've been holding on to for too long. And this is why it is hurting us, or is not, maybe not hurting us, but not helping us move as quickly or in the right direction that we were hoping to.
And I think the pandemic is forcing us to look at everything in different ways. It's one of those big moments, just like the Great Depression of 2008, 2009 caused us to look at business in different ways. And the gas crisis back in the late 70s and various other things. We have these cycles of things that come through, and it's just natural. And I think we sometimes need that big catalyst to go, you know what, maybe I don't need to drive to every one of my clients' businesses to have a meeting. And imagine, I look forward to when things go to wherever they are after the pandemic, that I can choose skillfully when I need to go meet with the client in person, and when a Zoom or a FaceTime call covers us so that I'm not driving, because the time I spent driving to clients in Northern Virginia sometimes was dreadful.
Right.
That's a 5-hour trip for an hour of paid time. It makes no sense in the current arena.
Correct. I mean, it all depends on what you have to accomplish and what are the things that you need.
There are times, yes. But in general, for an update meeting, an hour Zoom call is great.
Right. I think that's, and I think that all gets back to, you remember that commercial of a sales team is in a room and the person is like, we've lost touch.
Yes.
with our customers, because everything then was phone, fax. Like you didn't have this interaction. And they just handed out plane tickets and everybody was going out to see other clients in person. And I feel like that at some point, we'll get to that point, I would imagine, at some place where people are looking for that in-person conversation that is so beneficial. Oh, yeah. And I'd be like, Zoom is great. It would be really great to sit down and have a meal together, to have a conversation.
Yes.
So we're not just solely focused on the challenges, but we have a chance to talk about other opportunities, so to see how things might grow. But I think it just is a part of the hard things. We get so comfortable doing things the way we do them that unfortunately it takes a pandemic for all these things to come to light, which in reality have been there all along.
Oh, yeah.
We just haven't stopped to think about, is this really the most efficient way? Because we aren't forced to.
Right.
And I think that's, and I would say back to my example with that one client, my coach forced me to think about that because I would talk about, geez, I like the people, I like the work, I like the things they're doing, I like that.
Oh, I can remember.
It's just not really
that drive was not fun.
No, and there were other things about it that were just not serving what I wanted to do, and I think you and my coach helped me get uncomfortable with it and really stop and say, like, okay, is this truly doing what I want to do? Is it really helping me? And I think the challenge for all of us is it's too easy for us to say, yep, why would I want to put myself through that conversation or that thought process to figure out if this is really serving me when I can just stay in what I know, what it has been, what is comfortable, and just deal with whatever the results are as they come.
I'm going to throw Dave's comment in. I think he's talking here. My ADHD would cause me to do the same, Bob. I think he's talking about my tracking how many people were watching us at any given moment. So I appreciate that, Dave. If you're still participating, thank you. You make me feel so much better today. Tom, so with that, why don't we get to our one thing? What's yours about not letting go?
Well, I think, when you don't let go, it's a challenge, I would say. It's not an easy thing because sometimes if we hold on to it, we may find that there are still, bots is a good example. We didn't just put it like, that's the stupidest thing ever. We're never going that direction. It was always in the back of our heads that maybe this is something that we could benefit from in some way. And I think that's the critical piece about this is having those conversations or thoughts about, is this still serving me? Is this still something that I want to keep in the front of what we're doing? Or maybe it gets pushed to the back, or maybe it gets released altogether. And I think those are the hard conversations. And I think that they're still the ones that are probably the most important because when you don't have those, you end up doing things longer and longer and longer that don't serve you or don't serve others. And I think that ultimately is going to slow you down, maybe even put a huge obstacle in your pathway, as you try to make your own unique pathway to success.
Sure. I like that. I'm going to add to that we often stress over the effects of letting something go and make it into a mountain when it's a molehill to ourselves and to our customers. I remember how really frantic you were. You were really worried about leaving that situation. And I remember talking to you several times. I was like, well, I just can't. They really need me. They've survived, I believe.
They have. Actually, they have. It's been interesting, and I think they moved in a little bit different direction, which is fine. And I think that's some of the things that I think we can never predict what's going to happen. And, sometimes it's a new perspective on things is beneficial. Or they just keep moving along. And sometimes when those things actually happen, they have good results. Yeah,
I've seen clients increase prices and tell me their customers will leave, and the customers are like, "I've been waiting for this for 3 years.
Right.
I can't believe you didn't do it 3 years ago." And the client's like, "Really? You're kidding." I don't think we're very good assessors of what to let go of because we layer on so many emotional aspects of it, fear, worry. I've got to learn something new. People are going to reject me, the whole bit. So Tom, I've got a coaching session in 2.5 minutes. So we need to wrap this baby up. I know, right. Doing my job.
Good for you. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you have one thing that you'd like to share about letting go and what happens when you don't, or if you have tips to help people try to figure out how to let things go, please feel free to share them in the comments. You can also talk about them in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where we hope that you will join us if you're not already a member. It's easy to do. Go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then just tell us why you're a renegade. And you can become a part of our growing group, our growing community, where we're helping people take that next step and figure out what are things they should let go of? What are things maybe they might hold on to, but they push to the back? Or what are things that they maintain because there is still value from them and there might be just a little different way to look at it. So thanks for joining us today. We hope to see you inside the Ring of Renegade Facebook group. If not, We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's
and our check-in, check-up today at 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Absolutely. All right, folks, here's some more information about the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. We will see you soon.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.